مرحبا تفضلوا.
مرحبا بكم سي كريم، مدام رجاء، مدام سارة، مرحبا بالتلاميذ الأعزاء، مرحبا بكم الكل. إن شاء الله تعدوا حصة مفيدة وإن شاء الله بالنجاح والتوفيق، وألف شكر على المبادرة هذه زملائي، يعطيكم الصحة وشكركم في صحتكم، ونبدو على بركة الله الحصة بالتوفيق إن شاء الله.
يعيشك يا مدام هيام ويعطيكم انتم الف صحه في المبادره هذه، وان شاء الله يا ربي تكون معناتها افيكاس ويخلطوا التلامذه يفهموا حويجات ويوصلوا معناتها على الاقل يستفيدوا منها. احنا ديجا معناتها الهدف الرئيسي هو الافاده وكهو، وان شاء الله بالنجاح يا ربي للناس الكل.
ان شاء الله، امين امين بالتوفيق ان شاء الله.
So good evening everyone. So let's start the presentation of today. Welcome everyone, welcome Mr. Kareem, welcome all the attendees, pupils and teachers alike. So this will be the first session, okay, in a series of review sessions. We prefer to start with Unit 4, since we have the mock exam, le bac blanc. So it will be like a preparation, okay, to check out what you have in mind, to revise some grammar, vocab. So I hope it would be useful for everyone. Let's start. Mr. Kareem, is my screen shared? It's okay?
It's okay, Raja.
It's okay, Raja, yes.
Right. So, if you want, before starting the presentation, I would like to play a game, okay? So, dear pupils, please, if you can take the phones of your parents, or if you can manage to open a new a browser, okay, on your phone, we will have a small brainstorming game. So you go to menti, okay, .com. I repeat, you will see already in my screen the code and the address. I repeat, you open a browser, okay, you go to www.menti.com, okay, and you enter the code. Mr. Kareem, if you want, you copy paste the code for them in the chat box, please. So it is 92213970. So I will wait a few minutes for you to open the browser, okay? And I will say again the code. Take your time. So I repeat the website. You type www.menti.com. Okay, I repeat again the web, okay, www.menti.com. And when you open the browser, you enter the code, which is 92213970. I repeat. 9 2 2 1 3 9 7 0. If you manage to open the browser, please let me know, okay? Of course, when you enter to this browser, you will find places, spaces, okay? Yes, very good. In which you will type your answers. And here in my screen, you will see like a cloud. Already I am getting answers, very good. So the first question in my presentation is, what are different life issues, life problems? Of course, here I am talking about different issues. It means related to health, related to environment, related to attitudes, related to employment, and related to education. Well done, great. You see, the cloud is getting bigger. I am getting a new vocabulary. Yes, very good, yes. So I read already the answers I'm seeing in my cloud, great. Urban exodus, good. Lack of money, poverty, attitudes, eco-driving, environment, job ads, obesity, human rights, great. Smoking, family problems, very good, yes, excellent. Pollution also, yes. Family problems, yes. Dishonesty, attitudes, lack of money, very good. Dear pupils, you're doing great work. Well done, keep up. Okay, so as you see here, the cloud is getting bigger and bigger. So even when you are revising at home, why not playing this game with your friends? I will leave you later the website, okay? You can prepare your own Menti presentation and share it with your friends to revise, especially in English. It's a good tool, okay, to share ideas, brainstorming, vocabulary, and so on. Yes, I'm getting other vocabulary here: environment, relationships, diseases, workplace, marriage. Great, very good. Right, I'm still having a second presentation, so please don't log off from the website, okay? You will see now a second presentation, okay? It's a pie chart. The question is, do you think smoking is addictive? Here, I have three possibilities. Either you choose the first option, yes, it's addictive and harmful. The second option, yes, it's addictive, but we can't stop it. Or the third possibility, okay? I'm already having here the answers, okay? So one person answered the first one, 3 persons the third. Yes, great. So we agree on that, huh? So smoking is addictive. People who smoke, especially heavy smokers, okay, they become addicts to cigarettes because there is a substance like drugs which cause this addiction. And of course, it's harmful. It's a source of a lot of health issues. You have lung cancer, asthma, respiratory problems, heart disease, etc. Great. Okay, so if you have finished writing your answers, let's move. Or shall I wait? Is there anyone else who would like to share his answer? Or that's it for the Mentimeter? Shall I move or wait? You could write in the chat box, please. So let's evaluate together. So here, the majority of people agree that smoking is addictive and harmful. I have 5 answers here, 6. just right now.
Mrs. Raja, the sound. Open your mic, please.
Do you hear me now, Mrs. Sarah?
Yes, good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I come back again. Are you still seeing my screen? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so let's agree on the answer. So here I have 6 people who agree that yes, it's addictive and harmful. Okay, 4 people agree that it's yes, addictive, but we can't stop it. I disagree with you. You must stop smoking. It's a bad lifestyle. Okay, and you have 3 people who agree that it's a bad lifestyle that should be eradicated. We should stop, okay, cut down smoking. Great, thank you for your participation. Hope you enjoyed the Mentimeter. So now I come back to my presentation. So I will stop the sharing and I will share my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Is it clear? Do you see the PowerPoint now? Yeah?
It's okay.
Okay, so I start. Of course, pupils, please, if I am speaking too fast or speeding, you can write in the chat box, so I slow down. If you need an explanation or repetition of idea, be my guest, also write in the chat box, and Mr. Kareem will tell me about that, right? Okay. So, as I said, we will start with Unit 4, okay, which is the last module in the book. So the title is Life Issues. Let's start with the nature. Issue here, it's not a verb, it's not an adjective, it is a noun in the plural with S. Great. So what that means, issues? It's a synonym for problems, matters, concerns. So we will talk about different problems related to life. Well, before starting, I would like, since it's a revision, so I will not go automatically to the lessons step by step. I would like to give you some tips of advice that you should bear in mind. Of course, in your exams, they are taken from newspapers, so it is very formal English. Of course, what are the characteristics of formal English? It's a little bit intricate, complicated, and you have a lot of structures. I would like to start with these structures. For instance, you can come across collocations. What is a collocation? It's a group of words always together. I will give you some examples to clarify here. Like I say, educational system, usually you find them together. Gender equality or gender issue. To do business, to do maths, to do the shopping. To make a difference, to make an appointment, to make a deal. To go on holiday, to take a break. So usually you should try to learn as much as you can these structures. It helps you a lot, especially in the language tasks. Another structure which is typical for the formal English, okay, which is the idiomatic expressions, or what we call simply idioms. What is an idiom? It is a sentence which has a meaning different from the meaning of each word alone. So here, I don't understand the sentence word by word, no, but by the whole meaning. I will also give some examples to clarify. The best of both worlds, what that means? It means an ideal situation. For example, I say, I had the best of both worlds since I enrolled online. So I kept my job and I pursued my education, okay? To get bent out of shape, it means to get upset, nervous, angry. For example, I say, I'm getting bent out of shape because she lied to me. Once in a blue moon, it means very rarely, something which doesn't happen usually. Let's say we see Mr. John once in a blue moon. He works night shift, so he works all the night, so we can't really see him every day, okay? In addition to that, we can find also what we call phrasal verbs. What is a phrasal verb? It is a verb followed by a preposition or an adverb, a particle it means. For example, and before proceeding, please pay attention. The preposition or the adverb that you will add will change the meaning of the verb. Take a look at this sentence here, or this verb if you want. To call, I call Mr. John, I call Muhammad. So to call here, it means to name or to address. But when I add the particle around, the meaning changes. For example, if I say to call around someone, it means to call multiple people. Let's say the father was calling around looking for his missing daughter. So the daughter was kidnapped. No one knew where she was. So the father was calling around, was calling everyone on the phone, anxious, etc. Okay? To go, it means to move, to proceed, to walk. But when I say to go over, it means to review a task or an assignment. Let's say, for example, they go over the new plan before making a deal with the new buyer. Okay, so they revise before signing the contract with a buyer. I am talking, for example, about a businessman. Okay, let's move now to the brainstorming. We try to develop our ideas. What are the life issues? So, I will start with the first part in which we will talk about social issues. So what are the social issues? They are problems that influence people, such as the domestic violence. It means violence at home between married couples. We talk about child labor, the exploitation of underage children. I talk about ethnic cleansing, like what's happening, unfortunately, today in Palestine, in Myanmar, and so on. Alcoholism, alcohol addiction. This is also another social problem. Drug addiction, terrorism, slavery, racism, world hunger. Today, the world is ravaged by famine. In Somalia, Nigeria, even in Yemen, many children are starving to death because of the shortage of food. We can talk also about various other problems, okay, related to schools. But inshallah, we will do that in Unit 2. So I will not really focus on them in this unit. Just to keep in mind, we can talk about illiteracy, the inability to read and write. We can talk about the dropouts, pupils who leave schools, okay. Immigrants today present a huge controversial issue. Bullying, cyberbullying today, okay, and many more. Right, So usually in the exams, since we are revising, I will keep giving you pieces of advice, okay, to clarify how you should work on your own. You should talk about possible and provide, if you want, possible solutions for each of these problems. Here, because of the sake of time, I will not provide all the solutions to all problems, but inshallah, we are preparing a wakelet in which you will have all answers, okay, so that you could have some clues how to develop your ideas either in the guided writing or in the free writing, okay? So I usually recommend that pupils divide their ideas so that you can write many ideas, okay? So here, for example, in the solution, you can categorize it as this. You can talk about, for example, the government's role. Let's say to provide help, to pass laws against child labor, against racism, wherever. You can talk also about individuals' role, what they should do as individuals, as people. For example, to raise awareness, to make other people conscious. If your parents are not conscious about, for example, pollution, they will not make a difference. So you should make them aware, okay? Let's say to donate, charity. Also, you can talk about the community's role. It means the role of the whole society, the whole community as a unit. For example, to unite to eradicate poverty, let's say to organize campaigns. And last but not least, you can talk about the role of NGOs. What is an NGO? This is an acronym. It means non-governmental organization. It means humanitarian, like the UNICEF, the Red Cross, the UNESCO, okay? So these organizations, for example, can simply collect charities, can build orphanage, schools. So, as I said, these ideas are very helpful in your writing, okay? So bear in mind, please try to classify, to categorize, so that you have many ideas, because usually pupils have, if you want, lack of ideas. They don't really have a lot to talk about. So this is a good way to brainstorm your ideas, especially that the writing is usually counted with lines. You should write a 15-line paragraph for the arts and 12-line article or paragraph or whatever for the scientific branches. Well, now I move to the second type of issues, okay? I will talk about health issues. So what are the health issues? They are health problems, diseases, or other kind of health conditions that jeopardize, it means that threaten to put in danger, okay, the lives of people. Here are some examples. Nicotine, when I'm talking about addiction, viruses, pandemic, epidemic, stress, especially when I talk about the burnout, it means work-related stress. Obesity, the problem of overweight. Cancer, different types of cancer. The strokes, the diabetes, depression, unhealthy diet, the phobia, tobacco, asthma, Parkinson's disease. For the Parkinson's disease, it is some, if you want, mental issue which is related to the brain, to the loss of identity, of memory. It's very, very similar to the Alzheimer's disease, okay? The junk food, and so on, and many, many other problems. So, I've chosen here a study case, since in our book we usually focus on smoking. We can't turn a blind eye to this, if you want, huge problem today, especially that teenagers are very influenced by adults and they are still imitating them. So let's talk a little bit now about smoking. So smoking is one of the major causes of preventable death It can lead to a variety of health issues. What does it mean, preventable? It means a death that you can stop. So today, when you say that you can't stop smoking, it's not true, okay? It is related to determination, to willingness, okay? So what are the causes? Why do people smoke today? Especially that a great, if you want, rate of people, of smokers are teenagers. First of all, they say simply it is an oral pleasure. Also, they say that smoking is fun, you are having a great time. It's a sign of manhood. If you are having the cigarette in your hand, it shows that you are adult, mature enough, which is ridiculous, by the way. To help concentration, many people think that the nicotine substance helps you focus more. To escape reality, some people who have problems, family issues, money issues, they prefer to smoke, to use drugs, alcohol as a substitute for reality. To imitate peers, just simply to show off, okay? Or it could be an etiquette at social gathering. It shows that you are someone respectful from a higher social class. Okay. Right, now let's talk about the solution, if you want, the tips, how to quit. How could we convince people to quit today? Of course, the first thing that you should do is to have a strong determination. So it comes from your inner self. Regular exercise, you go to the gym, okay, you practice a sport, you run, you use the treadmill, and so on. Healthy diet, of course, you can't stop smoking without having a healthy food. So stay away from the junk food. And of course, to avoid public places which remind you of smoking. Try to stay, if you want, in a non-smoker or smoke-free places. Right. I chose here a second study case. We will talk about the importance of fruits and vegetables. Usually in the class we say 5 a day. What is a 5 a day? Okay, so let's explain that. So usually 5 a day is a quote. It was a campaign based on World Health Organization advice to have a balanced diet rich in fruits and vegetables. So, what are the tips provided the World Health Organization? Every person, everyone should eat 5 slices or 5 portions, 5 pieces of different fruits and vegetables every day. It's 5 slices, not 5 fruits, okay? It is not a whole, if you want, fruit, just a piece. Also, they recommend that you consume fresh, canned, frozen, dried, or juiced fruits. Okay, so you have different options for different tastes of people, right? Okay. Why do they encourage us to eat fruits and vegetables? Take a look at the picture here. So you have different words, okay, related to the benefits. Blood circulation, the nerves, vitamins, calories, proteins, okay? So keep in mind that fruits and vegetables are a good source of vitamin and minerals. Also, fibers reduce the risk of cancer and strokes. In addition to that, they are low in fat and calories. Moreover, they provide nutrients needed for the body to work properly. Okay, we finished with the health issues. Let's move to the career issues. So what are the career issues, or if you want, employment? So they are problems that people face later in life, either searching for jobs or while having jobs. Take a look at the word art here. We can talk about the burnout, work-related stress, low-paid jobs, which push a lot of highly skilled people to emigrate, to leave their countries. Inflexibility, it means if you want long hours, abusive timetable. Satisfaction, which is sometimes absent in your work. Authoritarian boss or employer. Disqualified workers. Sexism, which is, if you want, a gender issue in the workplace, separation between male and female, some type of bias, prejudice, bigotry, okay? We talk about promotion, productivity, teamwork, pay rise, staff conflict, to go on strike. So these are some ideas, okay? You can, of course, figure out many more. Well, similarly, I would like to focus today on the problem of stress, which is related basically to the employee morale. Okay, if you are satisfied in your job, there are many consequences. If you are dissatisfied or unhappy, also there are many consequences. So, employees who are not comfortable at work could face burnout. As I said, burnout, it is a synonym for work-related stress. What are the causes of the stress today in the workplace? The first major reason is job dissatisfaction. You are unhappy, you hate your job, okay, you can't stand it. Inflexibility, you work for long hours, very hard work, exploitation. Ingratitude, the absence of gratitude. No one tell you thank you or show their gratitude. You work hard enough, okay, to be rewarded, but this absence of reward or thankfulness make you feel, if you want, deep down. The tension sometimes which happen between co-workers. Many people don't really enjoy a good relationship with their peers or mates in the workplace. Authoritarian boss, sometimes it is really a hostile relationship. It's not really a friendly relationship. And last but not least, the lack of incentives. Incentives here means motivation, okay? What are the types of motivation? They come in the form of a pay rise, a promotion, a job if you want, a perspective, etc. So all of these, they help you feel, if you want, more comfortable, more at ease, okay? Also, we can talk about the horrible working condition. Let's talk about Tunisia, for example, the horrible condition in which teachers are working, old-fashioned curricula, ravaged schools, wherever. So the absence of air conditioning in the summer, the heater in the winter, and so on, okay? So all of these make employees really dissatisfied and disappointed. And this could lead to absenteeism. They will be absent all the time. They will go on strike, okay? Now, what are the impacts if someone doesn't love his job? What will be the consequences? Of course, he will not work at all. He will not produce. So I talk about the low productivity. Laziness, they will become lazy. He came late, etc. He doesn't care, he's indifferent. Absenteeism, like I mentioned earlier. They go on strikes. Conspiracies, he can buy sensitive information to other, for example, companies or firms, and this could lead to the bankruptcy, the failure of the organization or the company in itself. The lack of motivation, there is nothing which really pushes you to work, to be present, and of course it could lead to serious mental health issues, okay? Depression, insomnia, you can't sleep at night, heart attacks, and even to death. So pay attention for that. It's very important when you feel comfortable in the workplace. Strokes, of course, which are main cause for death. Okay. So, what are the solutions? How could we provide a cozy, comfortable environment for employees? First of all, we should provide flexible schedule. Second, we should give them more incentives at work. Why not think about the pay rise, the promotions, all of these, they motivate workers to produce more, to be more engaged, to be more punctual. Okay? Also, the recognition and support by employers. And the last one, of course, to provide better working conditions. The more you love your job, the happier you will be and the more productive you'll become, of course. Let's talk now about something else. I move to the environmental issues.
Mrs. Rajaya?
Yes, Madam Sarah.
Can we take a few questions because there are some students raising their hands?
Okay, yes, no problem. Yeah.
Okay. We start with Mira. Mira, your mic is open. Mira. Or Ayo.
If they want, they can write in the chat box if they don't have a mic, Mrs. Sarah.
I don't know what's... okay, we wait.
Yes.
Yeah, you can...
Shall I proceed in the presentation or wait a little bit? Wait?
No, you don't.
Okay, I will proceed.
Okay.
So please, if you have any questions, if you can raise your hand, you find it in the top or the bottom of the, I don't know, because you are using the phone. So I think the top or the bottom of your phone, you find the icon of a hand. Okay, you click on that so that you raise your hand, and Mrs. Sarah will tell me about that. If you don't know how to raise your hand, okay, just write in the chat box. You write your question, okay, like an SMS here, and we will get it and we will answer you as soon as we see it, right? So, I will talk, as I said, about environmental issues. What are the environmental issues? They are problems threatening the planet's system because of human activities. And unfortunately, today, a great proportion of these problems are man-made. They are caused by men. When I talk about pollution, when I talk about oil spills, when I talk about extinction of species, all of these, they are basically and uniquely caused by men. So, similarly, take a look at the word art here. You have some examples, not all of them, of course, just I picked some of them. We can talk about contaminated water. Today, because of pollution, because of the sewage, okay, water is contaminated. This could lead to serious health issues, to the death of sea species, and many more. Deforestation. Today, the problem of cutting trees, logging, and you have another problem which makes this worse, which are the fires. I don't know if you followed the news this year. Australia has suffered a lot, a huge damage of its forests, okay? Natural disasters, when I talk about the tsunami, the earthquake, the volcano, the drought, the flood, okay? Ice melting, or what we call glacier melting today, because of the great, if you want, increase in the heating of the earth, okay, which we call global warming or climate change, the glaciers are melting rapidly. And this really puts species in a great danger of extinction, okay? The ozone depletion. When I talk about the ozone depletion, I talk basically about the greenhouse gases. So today the ozone depletion plays a major role in the heating that we are having and feeling on Earth. Fossil fuels. What are the fossil fuels? They are all sources of energy that we use, like the petroleum, the coal, okay, the natural gas. Of course, when they burn, okay, they emit very dangerous substances like the CO2, for example, the carbon dioxide, like the methane, and many more. The CFCs also are very dangerous, and they are the main cause for the ozone depletion. Pollution with its different types, either water pollution, air pollution, land pollution. Fires, I already talked about Australia a few seconds ago. Water scarcity. If the third war would happen, it would be about water. Today we face a shortage of water. There is not enough clean water for everyone on earth. So this could lead to civil wars, okay, violence. Fumes, of course, fumes of means of transport and of factories. Garbage dump. Today we face the problem of a huge dumpster of garbage, how to get rid of them, what to do, and many other questions that are left unanswered. Overpopulation. Every day, billions of people are born every day. They need more resources, more houses, more schooling, and so on. Okay? Oil spills. Similarly, if you watch the news, you came across about accidents, okay, in which a great tank, the tank is like the ship, the big ship, okay, on the sea, okay. Usually because of some technical problems, we have these accidents and the oil is spilled. So of course, a lot of petroleum, okay, will contaminate the oceans and the rivers. Also, we could talk about the problem of extinction of species. Today we have many animals which are listed as if you want, threatened by extinction, such as the koala, the tiger, the polar bear, and many more. Plastic bags, which is the worst of all of these problems. You know that plastic don't really degenerate. So if you burn plastic, it will emit harmful substances. So how to get rid of plastic? And last but not least, you have the problem of global warming. Okay. Similarly, I chose here to talk about a study case, okay, which is the climate change. In your exams, maybe you could have the word global warming. In the past, we used the word global warming because it was manifested only by an increase in the temperature of Earth. Today, no. It could be an increase or a decrease. You see sometimes in the news, snowfall and wherever. So today we change the word simply. Scientists prefer to use climate change as an option, as a substitute for global warming, but they are, if you want, the same. So what is climate change? It's the change in global and regional climate patterns. Causes of climate change today. Of course, as I mentioned before, the first cause is the ozone depletion. Okay. In addition to that, I've talked already about the greenhouse gases. So today, if you want, the greenhouse gases act as, if you want, a thermal, okay, a thermal coverage which heats up the Earth, makes Earth, if you want, hotter and hotter. Also, the burning of fossil fuels needed for manufacture, needed for economy. Deforestation, we are cutting trees to build malls, okay, to have schools, to have new apartments. CO2 emission by the means of transport, cars, buses, wherever. So, what are the impacts? Of course, the first direct impact of climate change is the glacier melting, okay? If the glacier will melt, what will happen to the sea level? Of course, it will rise. and this could lead to increased flooding, infectious diseases and allergies. Allergies especially because the pollen of the flowers are, if you want, emitted earlier. Take a look at spring, even in Tunisia. We are suffering allergy during spring and summer because of that. Drought. Today, the absence of rain, okay, could lead to the problem of drought. And automatically drought is related to famine, world hunger. Last but not least, the extinction, of course, of species. Right, so I've chosen a second study case here, okay? We can't also forget to talk about the eco-driving today. So before talking about eco-driving, I would like to mention that air pollution is basically caused by the fumes, okay? So how could we stop or at least reduce this problem today? Right, so this part we'll talk about that. So usually we mention the word eco-driving. What is an eco-driving? So eco-driving, it is the set, the group, okay, of energy efficient driving techniques used by whom? Used by drivers. Why? To reduce fuel consumption. So basically, eco-driving is composed of different techniques. For example, the first one is smooth driving. When you are driving your car in the street, please try to drive smoothly. Avoid sudden brakes. Of course, this is related to the road anticipation. Take a look in front of you. What do you have? Okay? In addition to that, don't forget the car maintenance. You should take your car, okay, and check it out at a regular base. For example, every month, every 2 months, every year, it depends, okay? Don't forget also to check the tire of your cars. We should use, okay, all the supplements, the accessories in our car cautiously, sparingly, like, for example, the MP3 player, the air conditioning, okay? And of course, you can share journeys with other people, with your friends, with your neighbors, when possible, so that we reduce the number of means of transport on the road. We could also search for alternatives. For example, if it's not far, don't go by car. You can take the bicycle, like what's happening in Korea, in Japan, in China. Okay, so try to figure out if you want friendly means of transport. Okay. Now, what are the impacts of eco-driving? Why we should follow these steps? Of course, the first advantage will be to reduce the CO2 emissions, okay? And of course, if you reduce this air pollution, you automatically protect the environment, okay? And also you reduce air pollutants. Don't forget, you will save a lot of money by doing that. And of course, you will make a difference. You try from your position if you want to think globally and act regionally. Last but not least, you could reduce fuel consumption. Okay, you will, if you want to consume less fuel. So try to bear in mind all of these techniques. Well, let's move now to the last part of the problems we are talking about, okay? I would like to focus on the attitudes. So what is an attitude, first of all? Okay, so the attitudes are the set of moral conduct and behavior of people within a community. Of course, there are many accepted attitudes and many hostile ones, of course. So attitude doesn't really mean you should follow it, okay? There are standardized, if you want, attitudes, a set of conduct that our grandparents, our parents, okay, our community, neighborhood are following, okay? And there are certain attitudes that are really disliked in our society. Similarly, take a look at the word art here, okay? I've chosen many words, okay? They are antonyms, synonyms, and we try to figure out. Let's talk about selfishness, to think only about yourself. So this is, if you want, anti-social behavior. You should not be selfish. No, you should be generous, philanthropic, okay? We talk about indifference. You don't care about others, okay? Cynicism. You are questioning, doubting everything. Hypocrisy, arrogance, vice, hostility, anger, bigotry, jealousy. Okay? I will choose some positive attitudes. For example, you have self-confidence. Okay? You have generosity. Okay? So, I've sorted out in this table some ideas, okay, some, if you want, adjectives, and I provided their antonyms. So here, nouns, sorry, yeah, I provided some nouns, and in the second column, here you find their antonyms. So you have generosity, to think about others, to, if you want, spend money, okay. The antonym is frugality, to love money, not to think about others. Bravery, it means courage, to be courageous. The antonym is cowardice, okay. Honesty, to tell the truth. The antonym is dishonesty. Modesty, to be humble, okay. The antonym is to be arrogant. Altruism is to think about others, to help others. The antonym is selfishness, to think only about yourself. Solidarity, to help each other in the community. The antonym is isolation, you live only for yourself. Benevolence, which is much required today in the world. Unfortunately, we are living in a hostile world, okay? And the last one, tolerance, to accept differences, to be open-minded. The antonym is bigotry, prejudice, the bias, right? So that's it for my presentation. I hope it was useful. I will just stop here for a few minutes. If you have any questions, as I said, you can raise your hands, okay? I will show you if I can in my Teams. So you see here, this is the icon of the hand. Either you raise your hand like this and we will give you the speech, okay? Or just you go to the chat box, okay, here. And you write your message, your question. What do you want to ask? Okay. Yes. Yes, Mr. Kareem, if you want to ask them to check if they're writing any questions, you interact a little bit with them before moving to the second part. Yes.
Yes, students, if you have any question, you can raise your hands. Your teacher is available to answer your questions. Or we can move to the writing session if you like. Okay, I think no questions, Raja. I have to share my screen.
Okay, yes, I will stop my sharing. It is already stopped. You don't see my shared screen. I think I've stopped that. Yes, the floor is yours then.
Thank you.
This is Raja. Can you read the questions in the box?
Yes, Mrs. Sarah, a few minutes. So I have one question from Yezel. Okay, the solution of career issues. Okay, we already talked about that. To provide things that should appeal to the worker. For example, better working conditions. It means a more comfortable office, shorter hours, more comfortable, flexible timetable. When I talk about flexibility, I talk about how many hours you work in a week, especially when I'm talking about mothers, working mothers. So we should care for them. We should provide a better, working condition. In addition to that, we should provide flexible timetable, promotion, ترقية العلاوات, gratitude to show our recognition for them, الامتنان, العرفان. If you don't feel recognized in your work, you will start to hate it. I hope I've answered your question. Okay. Yes, Mr. Kareem, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, just a minute.
So I repeat again while Mr. Kareem is preparing for the presentation. If you have any questions, you can write in the chat box. Already I answered some of yours, or simply you go to the top of your Microsoft, and you click on the hand icon so that you could ask a question. Before I forget, I will leave you later, inshallah, with a Google Doc. It's like a questionnaire, simple tests, that you will answer, about this session, today's session, right? And it will be marked. We will send you on your email the mark. How much did you score on that test? Yes, Mr. Kareem, I think you are ready. Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you. So greetings to all our pupils and teachers. Welcome. The presentation is about writing strategies. We are going to answer the questions how to write and what to write. This is a preparation for writing activities. And I mean by writing activity your essays, which is marked by 8 points, during your exams. The first thing I want students to remember is the writing process. So I would advise students not to neglect the writing activity during their back exam because it's very important. And as I have said, it's marked by 8 points for back students and by 10 points for art students. Please do not leave your essays blank. You should write It's not difficult to write. It's not difficult to produce sentences. It's not difficult to join the sentences together to have a paragraph. So please do not miss the opportunity to have a good marks in the essay and to have good marks in English in order to succeed. So whenever you start to write or you think of writing activities, so you should bear in mind that you should start by generating ideas. It's the first step. Do not read the topic, take your pen and start writing. Please do not do that. This is a valuable advice for you. The first thing to do is to read the topic carefully. Underline the topic or the key words in the topic. You start then, generate some ideas, some thoughts. Remember what you have learned about the topic. I give you an example. If you read the topic, okay, about, for example, brain drain, try to remember what you have learned during this year with your teachers, okay, what you have revised about brain drain. And while you are remembering, ideas will come to your minds, okay? So remember and collect ideas and thoughts related to your topic. This is the first step. You can generate idea. It means you can remember. It's like a brainstorming. Ideas and words, structures, arguments will come to your mind. Whenever you have an idea about what you are going to write, now you can start drafting. Drafting is to write on the draft. To write, نقول احنا البريون. Okay? مش تكتب الجديد. So, while you are drafting, you are going to put thoughts on paper. You know, your exam is 2 hours, okay? You have 2 hours to finish your exam. And you should be careful about managing time. So, be careful. At least I think it's important to have about half an hour or 20 minutes for the writing activity, okay? So while you are drafting, this means you start writing notes. Do not write a full paragraph. You don't need to write a full paragraph or a full essay on the drafting stage, okay? You are going to jot down notes, words, vocabulary you remember you are going to use. Think about correct and convenient linkers, okay? Think about good ideas you are going to use, and try to use, for example, a spidergram. Try to use a matrix or table. For example, when you have a topic or when you are asked to write about the causes and effects, for example, we are speaking about environment, pollution, or anything else, and you are asked to write about causes and effects. So you can draw a table on your drafting paper, and then you get notes, you complete the table like what we do in class. You complete the table with the causes, 3 causes at least, and 3 effects. You can use a spidergram to collect ideas. You can use a Venn diagram, for example, or a flow diagram. When you finish drafting, you collected ideas. You are going to read your ideas again, correct mistakes if you have, and check your punctuation and capital letters, which is very important. So please, students, remember that while you are writing, you should care about punctuation and capitalizations because they are very important, okay? And whenever you revise it, your first draft, and then you can write your final product carefully without making mistakes. Before I move, I would advise you another advice. Sometimes you are asked or you are instructed to write 12 lines, or you are instructed to write 15 lines. So please do not exceed the number of lines mentioned in the instruction. Why? I think, or I believe that the more you write during the exam, the more mistakes you are going to make. So please be careful, okay? If you are asked to write 15 lines, it's enough, it's good to write 15 lines, okay? Even if you are good at English, okay? So do not miss the opportunity to have a good mark. So these are the steps, as I said, or the process of writing, okay? And today I'm going to shed lights on some types of essays you may be asked to write during your exam. Raja, can you hear me?
Yes, Kareem, I beg your pardon, yes?
It's clear, okay?
Yes.
So, as I have said, these are 4 types of essays or paragraphs you may be asked to write during your exams. And I'm going to focus on these types. There are 3 other types for the next session, inshallah. But today I'm going to focus on what we call advantages and disadvantages essay, the cause and effect essay, the argumentative essay, and letter, okay? Formal letter. Sometimes you are asked to write a letter. Letters are 2 types. We have the formal letter and we have the informal letter. Formal letter, so is an official letter. It's an official, this is, we say official or formal, is a letter that you write to someone whom you look up to, someone whom you respect, okay? Someone who's older than you. So, for example, it can be the headmaster of your school, it can be your teacher, it can be a manager. And while writing a formal letter, the layout must be respected, the form. I mean by the layout, as you can see this picture, so the form of the letter is respected, okay? And during your back exam, do not write your names, do not sign. These hints are given to you, okay? They are given to you, so do not write your names and do not sign. They give you the form and the layout, okay? So what is important is that you start your letter with this opening, dear sir or madam, okay? In formal letter, we don't use actions. For example, as you have seen in class, you are applying for a job. A letter of application is. So while you are addressing a manager and you are asking for a job, you do not write I apostrophe and am. No, you should write a complete verb form. I am applying for the position, etc. and etc. This is what is meant by formal letter, okay? It's very respectful to the addressee. And the different type of a letter, for example, personal letter. A personal letter, also called informal, is a letter that you write to someone of your age, your friend, for example, your parents, okay, your girlfriend. And even if it is a personal or informal letter, the layout must be respected. You should mention, for example, the sender, the receiver's address, and you should not forget the opening, like dear Emma or Tom, okay? But as you can see, there are no titles, okay? Like dear sir, dear madam, no. There are no dear friend, or you mention your friend's name, dear Emma, or dear dad or mom, okay? As you can see, so you can write in simple language. It's informal. You can thanks instead of thank you. So if it was a formal letter, you must say thank you. But in personal or informal letter, you are going to say thanks. For example, thanks advance for your letter. Okay, so these are, this is the first type of writing that you may need. And remember, sometimes you are asked, for example, to write a letter in which you interact with a topic, or in which you are going to give advice, for example. And take this example. For example, a friend of yours is thinking of moving from the countryside to live in the city. Write your friend a letter in which you mention the numerous benefits of country life and try to persuade him or her not to move. As you can see, so here you are going to address your friend, so it's a personal or informal letter, okay? And in this letter, you are asked to speak about the benefits, the many benefits, the various benefits of the countryside, okay? And you are asked also to persuade your friend not to move, okay? So you try to convince him by arguments or reasons or advice. This is an example of informal letter. The example of formal letter, let's go back. So the formal letter, like for example, I said the letter of application. When you are applying for a job, this means that you are writing a formal letter. When you are writing for your school, for example, headmaster or teacher, or when you are writing for a manager, this is a formal letter. Okay. Another type that you may encounter during the exam is the argumentative essay, and it's called also opinion essay. So an argumentative or opinion essay is an essay in which you agree or disagree with an issue. It is in this kind of essay where you are for or against. So as you are giving your opinion, you are for the topic or against. Okay, so here for back students, normally you have to adopt just one opinion. When you are asked to write an opinion essay, do not give both opinion. Do not say that you are for and you are against at the same time. No, just you are for or you are against. Okay, you need to convince the reader that your idea is right. Of course, this is done by providing and giving reasons, arguments, or examples, okay, to support your opinion. If you check this blue, yellow box, okay, the outline. Here you have to start in an argumentative essay. You should start with an introduction. The introduction should have an explanation of the issue. Okay, you should explain or define. You can give a definition of the issue. Okay, for example, pollution is an important issue today. Brain drain, for example, okay, is the capital flight or the migration of skilled people from poor countries to rich countries to seek better opportunities. So in the introduction, it's better to define the phenomenon or the topic between hands in 2 or 3 sentences. Okay, we do not give arguments in the introductions. Okay, the arguments are left for the body of the essay. Okay, so your body may include just one paragraph in which you are going to develop some arguments. You are going to mention your first argument, then your second argument, and then your third argument. Okay, and when I say that you should mention an argument, you should develop this argument and you should explain your arguments and support it by examples. Okay, you can develop argument. You should explain it so that the reader understand what you are talking about. You should be able to convince your reader, and in order to convince the reader, you should use strong arguments, and you support them with examples or details. Whenever you are done with arguments, you can move to a conclusion. Conclusion, you can state a summary of your point of view. It's simple to write 2 lines or 3 lines as a conclusion. Don't miss any part so that you construct a well-written essay. You should have an introduction. You should have 3 arguments developed in the body, and then you should finish by stating a summary. So this is your conclusion. Okay, an example of how to construct an introduction for an argumentative essay or opinion essay. So as I have said before, introduction is an explanation or definition or stating of the issue. For example, have a look at these sentences that may be helpful to your writings. You may start, for example, nowadays, the issue of, and you are going to name the subject matter you want to discuss. So the issue of, for example, global warming, or the issue of obesity, the issue of malnutrition, for example, the issue of brain drain, or any other topics you may need to talk about. So, and you say that this issue is a serious matter because, and you may state one reason, general reason. Okay, don't rush into details. Do not mention details for your arguments. Okay, yet a lot of people don't think so. The reason for this is, and give a general reason. Here we are going to state 2 opposite opinions, your opinions and the counter opinion or the opinion of other people. Okay, so this is an example of a simple introduction suitable for some topics. And do remember, I'm talking about argument opinion essay. Now in the body in which you are going to develop your arguments, there are several reasons, you can say, or you can start by saying there are several reasons behind the importance of, and you mention the topic again. There are several reasons behind the importance of, and you mention the issue or the topic you are talking about. And then do not forget to use convenient linkers. Okay, here I highlighted them with yellow, and you mentioned the first reason. Secondly, and you mentioned the second reason. Also, and you are going to mention the third reason. Okay, so it's important to mention at least 3 arguments to have a well-written body for your argumentative essay. For example, if you are talking about a brain drain, you are going to mention 3 arguments or 3 reasons why people, for example, immigrate. So to begin with, I give you an example. To begin with, people migrate to look for better opportunities or to look for better jobs because they are suffering from, for example, poverty or unemployment, or they are not enjoying the jobs they are doing. Secondly, and I'm going to give the second argument, people migrate because of wars, for example, okay, or because of political persecution, okay. Also, people migrate to enjoy, for example, better freedom or to enjoy a better life, and etc. So, whenever you finish your body and stating your arguments, you can now conclude in 2 or 3 sentences, okay? The conclusion, you are going to state your point of view, if you like, or you are going to sum up what you have said in the body. You can start your conclusion by using to sum up, or in my opinion, as I see it, I think, or I believe that the issue, the topic, the problem, as you like, of, and you mentioned the topic you were talking about, is of a paramount importance. Paramount means very important, okay? Of a paramount importance because of, and you state some of the reasons you provided before in another way, okay? You are going to paraphrase, if you like, what you have said in the body. Remember, in an argumentative essay, you should state at least 3 arguments and convince your reader with these arguments. Support your arguments with details and examples. So, let's move now. Another type that you may encounter of essays is cause and effect essay. It's another common type of essays in the baccalaureate exam. In cause effect essay, you discuss the causes, reasons, if you like, for something, the effects or results, or both causes and effects. Check the blue or the yellow box here. This is the outline of how to write a cause and effect essay. You are going to start by an introduction. As usual, in the introduction, you are going to state the topic you are going to talk about, or you are going to define the phenomenon you are going, or the issue you are going to talk about. In the body, you will have 2 short paragraphs. 1 paragraph for the causes, and you can mention 3 or 2 causes, okay? And in the second paragraph, you are going to mention the effects. For example, if we are going to talk about pollution, and you are instructed to mention the causes and effects of pollution. So, for example, in your first paragraph, you are going to speak about, or to write about, for example, land pollution, air pollution, and water pollution. And you are going to give examples or what causes these types of pollutions, like, for example, landfills and rubbish, like, for example, fumes from factories and CO2 emission, and like, for example, oil spill, okay, for sea or water pollution. Whenever you are done, you are going to move to talk about the effects, for example, of pollution. And you are going to mention, for example, diseases as effect, global warming as an environmental effect caused by pollution. And, for example, you are going to speak about or write about the extinction of animal. It's the result of some pollution, like sea pollution, for example. And whenever you are done, you move to your conclusion in 2 or 3 lines, and you are going to state a summary of your point of view. Okay. This is an example of a paragraph or example of an introduction of a cause and effect essay. Here you are going to mention the topic, and you say, for example, pollution is a serious matter, or a serious issue, or a serious phenomenon. Okay, choose the word that you like. That, and you may say threatens or affects, okay, negatively or positively. It depends on the topic you are writing. It is the outcome of different reasons, and of course it has several effects too. Remember, it's a cause and effect essay, and I have denounced this in the introduction. Okay, I told the reader in advance that I'm going to talk about reasons, it means causes, and effects or results. I'm going to shed light on both causes and consequences of, and you mentioned, the topic. So this is an example of how to write an introduction for a cause and effect essay. In the body now, you are going to, for example, say there are several, or there are many, or there are numerous or plenty of reasons behind pollution, for example, or brain drain, or any other topic, subject you are discussing. Don't forget to use good linkers. You can learn them by heart. For example, to begin with, or to start with, and you mentioned the first cause. Whenever you finish developing your first cause, use another linker of addition. And for example, here I have used next, and I'm going to mention the second reason or the second cause. And don't forget, whenever you finish a sentence with a complete thought, make a full stop. Punctuation is very important in the writing task. In addition to this, and I'm going to finish my third reason. Okay, and your subject matter, it means the subject you are going to talk about, leads to different consequences, or these causes lead to different consequences or results or effects. So in your second paragraph in the body, you are going to speak about the effects. As usual, you start by using linkers. Firstly, for example. Secondly, for the second effect. Thirdly, or last but not least, for your third effect. And you have to conclude when you finish the body. As mentioned before, and you state the subject you're talking about. For example, you say pollution has many effects on Earth, on our life. Hence, there are numbers of measures to be taken urgently, and this is optional in the conclusion if you want to mention some measures or some steps to be taken to save the environment, but you should mention them in brief. Okay. The third type of essays is advantages and disadvantages essay. It has the same structure as the cause-effect essay, just we are going to change the word causes with advantages and the word effects with disadvantages. So here you have to write 2 paragraphs. After the introduction and after the explanation of the issue, you are going to write a paragraph about the advantages of such topic. Whenever you finish writing about 3 advantages, you move to your second paragraph to write about the disadvantages. But you have to be careful here. If you are instructed in the topic, when you read the topic and the testee or the exam asks you to write about the advantages and disadvantages, it's okay. Sometimes you are asked only to write about advantages or disadvantages. Okay, it's a matter of time sometimes. Okay, so be careful. If you are instructed to write about only one side of the topic, so you should write only 1 paragraph, either advantages or disadvantages. But if you are asked to write about both, it's okay. You are going to write a short paragraph, for example, of 4 lines or 5 lines about the advantages, and then move to talk about the advantages, and in the conclusion you are going to state a summary of your point of view, and you are going to mention that, for example, the advantages outnumber the disadvantages or vice versa. Okay, so you should be careful when you write about advantages and disadvantages of something. An example of an introduction for such type of essays, for example, is a great invention that has numerous advantages. So in this blank we can put TV, for example, is a great invention, or mobile phones is or mobile phone is a great invention that has numerous advantages. Okay, or any other gadget or any other invention, for example. Yet there are many disadvantages too. So here we are going to mention both the advantages and disadvantages. So what are the positive and negative sides of our topic or our invention? This is just an example of how to write an introduction. In the body now, you are going to talk, or you are going to enumerate these advantages and these disadvantages. There is, or there are no, sorry, here it's there is no doubt. Okay, sorry for the mistake. There is no doubt that, and you talk or you mention the subject has many advantages. For example, there is no doubt that online learning has many advantages. To begin with, okay, and you are going to mention here, for example, the flexibility of online learning. Okay, and next, this is a linker of addition. You are going to add here another advantage of online learning. In addition to this, and you are going to mention the third advantage, for example, of online learning. In the second paragraph, you are going to talk about the disadvantages too. You may start, if you like, with on the other hand, or in contrast, or you can start using however. It has disadvantages too, and you are going to use appropriate linkers to mention 3 other disadvantages. Whenever you are done, you move to write a conclusion in 2 or 3 lines, as mentioned before. So make the reader remember always what you are talking about. So you are going to mention the topic again in the conclusion. As mentioned before, you are going to mention the subject has many disadvantages on etc. and etc. Okay? And I think that's all for me. The next time we should go into practice. We will start practice some writing examples from old exams. So be present and be active. Thank you for being here.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kareem. It's well done. You gave them many tips and clues to be well equipped and well prepared next time for their exams. Okay, so I think that's it for this session. We couldn't take you with us or keep you with us longer, so we will wrap up this session with the Kahoot. Next time, inshallah, we still have few lessons in Unit 4, and we will deal basically with the grammar, okay, the different types of grammar points we have in these lessons, and we'll try, as Mr. Kareem said, we will try to focus on the practice, okay, so try to stay tuned for the announcement. Inshallah, we will leave a poster, okay, in Facebook pages as usual. I hope it was useful. Are there any questions before moving to the Kahoot, which will be our final step in this webinar today? Yes? Okay, so as usual, I will share my screen. Mrs. Sarah, do you see my shared screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you open a browser, please. You go to kahoot.it. You have it already on my screen. Okay, so you write www.kahoot.it. I repeat, www.kahoot.it. I repeat, so you open a browser, okay? You write www.kahoot.it. So if you are ready, I will give you the code to which you will have access to the game. Okay, so the code is 6467713. Mr. Kareem, if you would like politely copy paste in the chat box. I repeat, 6467713. So I am already having one participant, okay, waiting for more to join, okay. So I repeat, you go to www.kahoot.it, okay, and you type the game pin, which is 6467713. So it's better if you have a phone of your parent, your mom or dad, okay? Because you need to see the questions on my screen. In your phone, in your smartphones, you will have only the colors of the questions. Usually you have, for example, 4 possibilities, 3 possibilities. So you have different colors, blue, pink, red, wherever. You can't really see the questions only in this screen because we use it. It's a game-based tool. We use it in classrooms. So usually the teacher has the shared screen in which you have the questions and the pupils follow just having the colors, okay? I repeat, if you can have a phone, okay, of your parent, it would be better and easier for you to follow. I am already having 7 players, great. Waiting for more, yeah. I repeat the code for those who didn't join yet. So you open a new browser, www. Okay, kahoot.it. Okay, the code is 6467713. Okay, so I think, Mrs. Sarah, shall we start? I'm having 10 players. I don't know how many we still have in the webinar. So shall we start? I think, is it enough, 10 players? Yes?
I think yes.
Okay, good. So let's start. Okay, thank you. So I will start with the quiz. What are the words related to health issues? Choose from the list. Logging, deforestation, water scarcity, hypocrisy, selfishness, indifference, asthma, strokes, Parkinson's disease. You tick the correct answer, okay? You click on that. I am having 5 answers, great. Well done. Okay. So, of course, asthma, strokes, and Parkinson's disease are related to health issues. The first one, the first list is related to environment. Okay. The second to attitudes. Great work. Next question. So, let's see the podium. Hedia is number 1 with 865 points. Yes, well done. Okay. True or false? Quitting smoking is a tough decision, but it requires too much money and treatment. Is it true or false? It requires too much money and treatment. Do you think it requires money? Okay, it's false, of course. It requires a strong determination. You don't really need to pay too much money, okay, to quit smoking. Good. So Hedia is still in the podium, Ahmed number 2, Sarah the 3rd position, Aya the 4th, and Siri in the 5th. Great. Next question, it's a quiz. Climate change causes increased flooding, diseases, and drought, or pollution, global warming, and deforestation, or water scarcity and extinction of species. What does climate change cause? Okay, so here I have 2 possible answers. Okay, increased flooding, diseases, and drought, and water scarcity, extinction of species. Well done. Amen has advanced to the third position. Great. Okay, next question, true or false? You should have your 5 a day. What does it mean? To eat 5 fruits and vegetables